All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our webinar on PT success, not stress. So we're going to go through some of the, how NAPT sees us as the seamless approach to proficiency testing. We're going to kind of talk about the entire journey that you have as part of your PT process. So as always, if you have questions, please feel free to use the chat or the question and answer feature, and we'll answer those along the way. And with that said, we're going to go ahead and get started into this. So for those who don't know who NAPT are on this call, we're a nonprofit organization that is dedicated to supporting the metrology community and making life easier for everyone. That's our goal. So over 100 years of experience between all of our technical advisors. We always like to say the things that make us different, right? We have full-time staff. We've got the widest range of artifacts, the best tools and reports. We'll see a little bit of that as we go through this. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this from a staffing update. We just announced this today that Phil Mastrada is joining NAPT as our full-time technical manager. So Phil will oversee all of the ILCPT process going forward. So we're super excited to welcome Phil to the team and continue to provide amazing resources for everyone in the community. So with that all said, let's talk about what this seamless approach is. So from our perspective at NAPT, we believe that proficiency testing is more than just a checkbox that you need to do to make sure that you can go to your accrediting body and say, we did this. When PT testing is done correctly, it can be used to transform your organization and make you and your organization better as a whole. So from our perspective, we see that PT journey kind of go, in 5 different ways or in 5 pieces, right? So you start at your scope, right? What are the items that we need to test or review? The second is that PT plan. The next is the actual ILCPT or the, performing whatever that action is. Then the reports, and then at the very end, if we had something that was unsatisfactory, how do we correct for the actions that we took along the way? So we're excited at NAPT because we can help organizations do all 5 of these things and bring them in a simple to easy to use process from start to finish. So we're going to dive into each one of these 5 so it kind of makes more sense. And again, along the way, if you have questions, don't hesitate to reach out, to ask, sorry. So the first thing is streamlining, right, your PT plan creation, right? It starts with the scope. So oftentimes people just jump to the PT plan, but realistically, right, what are those items on the scope that you're trying to accomplish? So we're making an investment to make this part easier for organizations. And I know that sounds absolutely crazy, but as organizations grow, sometimes they don't understand what specifically is on their scope and how that matches to specific proficiency testing or the different type of tests they need to do. So we're doing 2 different things to help organizations in this process. The first one is we're updating our website both in the customer portal and our main website to make it easier for you to look at what's on your scope and easily translate that from the scope itself into your PT plan and ultimately into the selection of your ILCPTs. The long-term goal, though, is to make this a more automated process, and we'll actually get to see a little bit of that here today. So that's where we start with that kind of scope journey. And from the scope, that drives us then into the PT plan itself, right? So from our perspective, we've been offering our PT plan as a free tool to anyone in the industry through our customer portal for the last 2 years, and we see an incredible usage of that PT plan. Roughly 60% of our customers use it, but we really want to continue to drive that growth to everyone because everyone needs to have a plan. So to have a centralized place that everyone can access and use that is really important. But we want to call out there's a few things we're doing to make this even better for organizations. The first item, and these are all will be released by the end of the year. The first is the ability to have either monthly or quarterly email alerts. So you've gone in, you've created that PT plan. We know I've got 3 or 4 things on it, or maybe I've got 20 things on it. But you've set times and now you've kind of lost track of when you did that. You're not looking at it every day. So what we're going to do is we're going to send you email alerts to let you know that items on your PT plan are due in the next month or the next quarter so that you can stay on top of what that looks like. The second piece is we're creating a flexible tool for you to be able to determine who are the managers of that PT plan so that you're alerting the correct individuals. And the last piece, and we've heard a lot of customers say this, the PT plan's not ours, so there's no need for our logo to be at the top of it. So we're going to customize that so you can upload your own company logos and information. So I'm going to stop there and I'm going to kind of show you what some of this is starting to look like already today. Let me just slide this over. All right. So again, some of this is new and coming soon. Some of it's a little further out, but we want to be able to start sharing this. So inside of the customer portal, you're going to see a new scope section up at the top, and it's going to allow you to quickly see all of the PTs that are available at any PT, along with the information that you need to have in order to make the correct selection. So in this case, we're just displaying 4 different kits here just for ease of look. But you can see, right, I can quickly at a glance see what the kits are, what the descriptions are, but most importantly, what's the range of these? What's the uncertainty range? And I can quickly get to the IS or the information sheet or the data reporting sheet very quickly right from this screen. So that's the first thing we're doing, and as I said, this is coming yet this year, so we're really excited to make this change because it's just going to be easier to find the kits. For us, we continue to add more and more PTs. We have over 150 now PTs that are available, so organizations trying to pick the right one has actually gotten a little more complex because we have so many out there. The second piece, though, I think we're really excited about is a scope review process. So you'll be able to come into the customer portal. You'll be able to choose your scope. So let me find my sample scope here. And it doesn't matter who the provider is, right? ANAB, A2LA, Perry Johnson, whoever provided to you, you upload your PDF file and you go ahead and you say submit the scope. What's going to happen in the background is we're going to upload that scope and we're going to use artificial intelligence to determine based on what is on your scope, what are some PTs that most likely fit what you're looking to do. So this is another one of those tools to try to find a way to simplify the process from here. And the last piece that you don't see quite yet because we haven't gotten there, but the ability to go ahead and take these items and add them directly to your PT plan or to order those PTs directly from this screen. So again, to try to shrink the barrier from what's on my scope, what's on this huge list of ILC PTs I can choose from, and then to the order process. So that's all from the scope perspective. Inside of that PT plan, right, we've done a large session on this. So I would encourage you, if you haven't seen all the ins and outs of our PT plan, to definitely check out that webinar. But the highlights, right, are on the right-hand side, you'll see that we're going to have the notification settings. I can choose how often I want to have that notification. And then under settings, I have the ability to mark who are those PT owners. So I can go ahead or the plan owners, so we get the right people notified. We can also upload our logo here. But from the PT plan, you can see at a glance what are the items that are coming up, what's done in the past, how did we do though on those, for example, right, back in 2023, we had our wire kit. It was ordered. It was completed. 9 out of 9. We're done. This hand tool one, it's ordered. It's still in process, so there's no results for it. So as soon as that's done, then we can. And we could really easily, if we needed to, directly from this PT plan, is order those next PTs immediately. We don't do it for you automatically at any PT because although you might have it on the plan, you might not be staffed at that moment. So we don't want to just ship something to you as a surprise. So we always encourage people, use the plan, schedule it, and then go ahead and order that so that you can move it forward. So that's kind of a lot of our investments we're doing on the PT plan side. So we're really excited about those items. So now we've used our scope, we've reviewed it, we've created our PT plan. Now the next piece is, let's talk about that ordering process. What does that look like from an ILC PT perspective? So most of our updates here are simply in new kits. So this year alone, we've already added 18 new ILC PTs for organizations. We've got our new multifunction calibrator from Transmill, a new oscilloscope, multiple pressure kits. I mean, there's too many to list. It would be too small to read the font. So the key thing to know is we're continuing to innovate and ship and add new items for that list, and that's really important to us. Most of our kits ship within 45 days. Sometimes it's even faster. So we're excited to have that huge selection, but not only that large selection, be able to get them to you as fast as humanly possible. Both of those things are critical. Now, you might have something on your scope that we don't have a PT for. It's possible that not everyone does, and that's where NAPT is excited to be able to allow organizations to use the intra-manager to manage their own intra-laboratory comparisons. And we can either do this, right, either as a self-managed, where you enter the information and you're running the intra from your organization, or NAPT helps manage that intra for you. We help design it, select the equipment, all those items that you have on at your location already. So we build the PT around what you have, and we ensure that it meets all the standards that you need to have. And that's really important because at the end of the day, having some sort of plan for each item on the scope is critical, but it's very possible that a PT provider won't have all of those items for you. So when we look at from the customer portal perspective, when I'm inside of my PT plan, I can really easily see at a glance what are the items that are coming up, what's missing, what are actions here, right? We can see I've got 4 different ILC PTs out there, and they're all in different types of statuses. So, the top one's missing shipping data, some we have submit results, but the key thing to know is when we order that new PT, we have all that information here. The one thing we're changing on this screen to make it even easier, because we understand that sometimes when you order a PT, maybe you forgot to go back and put it on your PT plan. Maybe something came up out of the blue, or you just missed it when you originally were going through it. So from the order screen, we're going to give you the ability to go ahead and add items back to the PT plan and specify the information you have so that you can have that linked historical results back on the PT plan. So maybe you forgot to start it, or you just want to start it now. You can start it from the order screen and push your way back into it and then move forward from a planning perspective going forward. So that's a really critical item that that we're excited to be able to do to make your planning purposes just a little bit easier in terms of your ILC PTs. From the intro perspective, right, as we kind of move across the screen, here's where I can go in and I can develop and create my own intros and do those results. So if I click on a completed one, for example, and I'll click on this one here, I can see, right, at a glance for my completed intra, not only, right, who my participants were, right, how we ended up, but I can click on each one, get the details about each intra, and go ahead and also print out the results. For our NAPT members, we also offer the pass-fail report then. So from this screen, I can see a roll-up of all of the individuals and all of the measured values in a single spot. Again, this is available to any NAPT member, and if you're not a member today, I encourage you to sign up because there's all sorts of really cool things you can do inside of the portal once you have your membership status. Again, from an intra perspective, creating an intra is incredibly easy. We spent 45 minutes once going through the entire process of it, so you can kind of see it, but it's all built inside of a wizard. So organizations, as long as you understand what it is that you need to test, you'd be amazed how quickly you can run through it. So for example, I can start this process, jump into my wizard, and it tells me, what are the things we need to do to be able to build our own internal ILCPT. In this case, really, it's just what is the artifact and what are the measured values. So as I go through this wizard, you'll see it tries to do its best to fill in as much information as it can along the way. So it, again, makes it easier for you based on what you've done in the past. So in this case, right, we're already jumping through, and now we're already to the point where all we have to do is specify the equipment. So as you can see, the process is only a few steps, a few clicks, and by the time you're done, you have an entire intra completed for you. So it's a really neat, powerful tool to be able to manage both your ILCPTs, but also your intras through the wizard as well. So as we kind of continue through this customer journey, right, we talked about everything starts at the beginning with that scope into your PT plan. Then we go into our ILCPTs or into our intras. But sometimes organizations will want a little bit more. They may say, hey, we would really love to have this ILCPT, or we don't have the equipment ourselves, and neither do you today. So how can we work with you to build that future ILCPT? So inside of the customer portal, you can go in and you can request the creation of new PTs. And this is something we monitor continuously to see what is the community looking for. We understand that we don't have everything, but we also understand we have the most items and the most resources that we can bring to try to fill those gaps for you. So as you add items into the wish list, we monitor them and we work with organizations to try to build those new PTs. Additionally, maybe you have equipment that you wish to donate to NAPT as part of a new ILCPT. As a nonprofit organization, we are reliant on organizations in the community to help us build these new PTs, and sometimes that's through donation of equipment. When you donate that equipment for a PT, you get to execute that PT for free. You get to compare your results against other organizations. So it just becomes a really great way to give back to help everyone else. So from the customer portal, when you're on the ILCPT page, on the side, you'll see where it says request kit development. And when you click here, you just need to go in here and give us the foundations of what you're looking for that next ILCPT. And as you do that, that's how we get notified. And you'll see down at the bottom that we can monitor and we report back when those things are updated. So if we have a new kit based on it, we can reach out to you and let you know that that new kit is ready to go. So we're really excited to continue to expand on that area. So the last piece, the last two pieces of the PT journey that we're trying to help organizations with is both from a reporting perspective and from a corrective action perspective. So we'll start with the reports. We understand that NAPT has the best reports in the industry, and we're continuing to expand upon it from the portal. Today, you have the ability to print the last 7 years worth of data. And if you need to go back further, you can also always reach out to us so we can help you out. But we have new comparison reports and historical data reports that we can do from the customer portal that allows you to quickly see what you've done or what you have coming up and then compare results across time periods. So maybe you've done the same PT over the last 5 years, and yes, you have an individual report for each one of those 5 years, but I want to see my historical trends across that entire time period. For our NAPT members, you have the ability to see that and be able to track that performance and that analysis. So it's a really neat way to be able to kind of see what is happening inside of it. So so that's the first item. The second piece that we're really excited about coming in 2025 is our introduction of managing corrective actions directly from within the customer portal. So as a NAPT member, you'll have the ability at the conclusion of your ILCPT to create a corrective action so that you can track that information. We understand that unsatisfactory results happen, but what's the action you take after you've done the PT to possibly correct that unsatisfactory result? Organizations oftentimes manage this corrective action process on paper or Excel spreadsheets or just random stuff that's kind of floating around without having some sort of centralized management of it. So we're really excited to be able to do that. So let's take a look at what those two items look like in the customer portal. So the first one, back on the reporting, we mentioned when you're an NAPT member, you'll see the two items on the left-hand side. So this one's performance by analysis. So I can come in and I can select the artifact that I want to have. So I've done all of these ILCPTs, for example, and then pick a specific measured value. And that will show me all the individuals who have performed that across all of the different times. So if I've done this for the last 10 years, I would see 10 years worth of data here of all the error and the east event and the uncertainty. So you can easily kind of see those historical trends at a glance for your organization. That second piece I mentioned was the participant tracking. Here I can go ahead and pick a time range and I can choose my range at the top and see what I have. So here, I can see my upcoming scheduled PTs in a single glance, but I can also then see all of my historical during this time. So here I've picked just this year is what it defaults to, and I can see every single one, the number of measured values. If it's completed, it will show me the number of satisfactory results versus others. So again, I can have this snapshot view of my entire organization directly within the customer portal as an easy way to be able to track all of this information. The second item I mentioned was the corrective actions. So up at the top, you're going to see the new item that says car in the customer portal. This is scheduled for early 2025. And when I come in here, I will see all of the corrective actions that I have defined for my organization that are open right now. You can see I have a slider at the top for the closed ones, but here I have 4 open corrective actions. And you'll see that I have the ability to pick, is it a corrective action, an OFI, a PAR, those kind of things. So in this case, I have those different 4, who they're assigned to, locations, all that important stuff. So at a glance now, I have that ability to track that at a central location so that anyone in the organization, or maybe you want to restrict it to a handful, but the key is you have a central location where all these corrective actions are now being managed for that organization. The second piece I want to call out here is if you're already using our accreditation manager for your corrective actions, that's fantastic because now you'll see those inside of the customer portal. And in addition to that, there's new features coming to the corrective actions for our accreditation manager customers, including the ability to create your own type of reports or actions. So today you're limited to CARs, OFIs, and PARs, but maybe you have some other internal process that you wish to track through this, you'll be able to create your own internal processes. And the second piece is the form that you use when you're creating it, you can customize what the fields are as well. So it gives those who are using the accreditation manager even more flexibility to be able to manage and report on their items. So here, if I wanted to, for example, I could click add new record, and it's going to come up and it's going to ask me to add my new corrective action. I would simply enter in, right, what's the synopsis of the issue, when it was identified, all these important things. But the key piece to know is this is an output or a potential output from doing an ILCPT. So from what we'll introduce is from here, when I'm looking at my completed results and I'm looking at a specific item, if I had unsatisfactory, like I do in this kind of example, I'll have the ability to open a car directly from this PT, which will then drive back into our corrective action so we can continue to track them going forward. So the key piece is when you think about that entire journey we talk about, that closes the loop. We start all the way from our scope, we go into our PT plan, we participate, we do our reports, and if we need to, we have corrective actions on the end. So we're committed to trying to find a way for organizations to be able to easily manage their way through that entire process. And then obviously, right, as we go through this, we're dedicated to do that, and we really do want organizations to realize that, right, that we have the ability to support those kind of things. So if you've got questions, feel free to ask them. I've got a couple here in the Q&A. One person asked about the PT plan on whether or not they can define multiple items on that plan, and the answer is absolutely. The whole point of the PT plan is to give you the ability, so let me go back here, to be able to define out your individual items. So for example, I can click on create a new record, and maybe we need to do something in chemical. I put in, right, whatever my parameter might be, and then I pick the time, month, I'm just going to say ABC, and then we're going to ask, right, who's the provider for that? In this case, we'll choose NAPT, and then I have my list of the PTs. So as I do this, I can add these items in. Obviously, that's not a chemical test. I get that. But as soon as I do that, you'll see that it goes ahead and it adds it to our PT plan. So the idea behind this PT plan is it's a rolling window of items. It's not just some sort of static item. Terry asked, do we currently have PTs for sensors? Probably need a tad bit more information of what you're looking for in terms of that one. So I'm not 100% sure. Does NAPT allow the integration of outside PT reports our lab might use? Absolutely. So you'll notice back when I was creating that, let me just pick another one here real quick or create one. Again, we understand that, right, NAPT may not have all of them. So maybe you are using a different PT provider for some reason. You can go ahead and mark other and put in the description in the comments. The other item I forgot to mention that we're adding to the PT plan also by the end of the year is the ability to upload documents into the PT plan records. So for example, maybe you have specific documents or artifacts that you want to upload in there. So maybe you did an intra yourself, but you didn't use our intra tool. Maybe you just did it internally yourself, but you still want to be able to upload those records and post those results. You can do that directly from within the PT plan as well. So it's really kind of cool. Yeah, we do have some thermocouples PRTs for sure, Terry. You can always reach out to us and we can help you kind of see if it matches what's on your scope as well. But yes, we do have some. All right. Another question that came in was about corrective actions. Can multiple people see the corrective actions? Yes, right? You can control who has access to what inside the customer portal. So from the settings, you'll see a list of all your technicians and you'll see what access they have. So an account admin can see everything, they can do everything. Users who are assigned to ILCs only, the only thing they can see in this case is just PTs that were assigned to me for data entry purposes. So they don't see all the other stuff. This portal access will have the ability when we roll out the car piece to also limit who has access to cars and PT plans and all that kind of fun stuff. Let's see, what was it? What about the following? The document plan shall include or be accompanied by a risk assessment level. Yeah, so Dave is asking about risk assessment and all that kind of fun stuff. We are absolutely adding risk assessment tools into our accreditation manager, and also understand that risk assessment is definitely part of that PT plan process. They do kind of go hand in hand at times. So we don't have anything to announce yet in the customer portal for risk assessment, but we definitely understand it's a real world item. So that should pretty much tell you that something's coming in the nearish future. So yeah, we definitely understand that's a real need for organizations today. All right, any other questions that anyone has? Otherwise, again, I want to thank everyone, right, for joining us today. It was a quick rundown, but we do believe that we have both the tools to help organizations from start to finish, but also the overall interest to make this easier for everyone else in the industry. I can't iterate enough. You know, the importance of us being a nonprofit allows us to be able to do things that other organizations can't. And at the end of the day, NAPT exists solely for the help of labs like yourself to make your life easier at the end. So with that said, I do want to thank everyone for joining us. It's 30 minutes. I don't want to take up too much of your time today. So as always, if you have additional questions, you can always email us at napt@proficiency.org. Thank you so much for joining us today. We'll have another webinar in a couple of months. I don't know what the topic will be yet, but it'll probably be something pretty cool. So thanks again, everyone. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll talk soon.